Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Interactive Friction Watchdogs. I am Brandon Lee Carey. Joining me, of course, is professional ATM hacker of the poor, Samuel Callahan.
I hate the poor. They're the worst. Look at this. They're so poor. Must hack all of them. Oh, Bad Boy 17. You know, considering, what is her name? Claire, if I remember correctly? Clara. So, how does one get a username like that and say, this is the name I want people to know me by? And it, like, every time I see that, I'm like, this has got to be a parody, right? Like, her name has got to be a joke about stupid Cyberpunk usernames. Like, it can't be like an in-universe, this is totally what Clara would actually use as her name.
The only possible explanation is that she used the screen name as a child and then it stuck.
When she was 17, maybe?
Not to bring your PSN ID into account.
We all make horrible decisions, and the internet keeps them forever, apparently. Like, speaking of bad decisions...
Not wounding your pride too badly, I won't say it on the air, but...
Oh, you can say it. It's bad.
No, because I don't want you to getting random PSN friend requests.
It's true. So I was
from
gonna
all the two people that watch this TV, this internet show.
I was also gonna say that, like, if you saw during the online invasion, speaking of usernames I can't change, on Watch Dogs and Uplay, it's Square Matt, which Matt, you know, just transparent here because I don't give a fuck, was a name that I used to go by when I used to go by a pen name with a lot of people. I didn't use my real name for a while, for different kind of reasons. So I made that name during that period, and I'm looking at it and people are like, so your name's Matt? It's like, no, it's fucking pen name, kind of a long story, sorry. And it's just like,
not that long of a story, it's a pen name.
I guess, but then they ask, like, why is the pen name? And it's like, I really don't want to get into that with random people, why I would choose a name like that. But it was just such a bizarre thing, and it's like, thanks Uplay for just reminding me that my past haunts me forever.
Yeah, well, I don't think I've ever had that problem.
Well, you've had the same name forever.
Yeah. Plus, I don't go by, like, any alias when I write. I go by my name, my actual, like, real-life name.
There was a period in time
it is just so much easier.
It's easier, I realize that now, but, you know, you're aware of the situation I was in at the time, and why I did not put my real name on there.
Yeah.
It was a thing.
It was a very complicated time.
Yeah, so nowadays I just use my real name.
To reach Bad Boy. I love
that! Yeah, it's so great! You know what's better, though, is that he's wearing a fucking fedora and a trench coat. Especially the fedora. Just some guy in a fedora goes...
Come to this one.
I just love the idea of a guy in a fedora going like, you Bad Boy 17? He's like, what the fuck, man? That's sick.
I know, and that guy has the best reaction. Like, you fucker, who do you think you are?
The people who treat Aiden like shit are the best because they're so real.
I know, because he deserves every ounce of their scorn. You don't look 17.
Also, as much as I like to like Clara, like, I somehow forgot about this, but she even looks like a cyberpunk parody. Like, I know that there are people who dress like this, but the idea that specifically a hacker chick looks like this seems like such a standard hacker chick trope.
She seems like she should be in a Shadowrun RPG and not in fucking Chicago.
Totally looks like a Shadowrun character, and
not as someone who's native to Chicago.
Like, it just kills the reality of the universe because it's like, it's a joke. Like, the way she looks is like our 90s envision of cyberpunk. It's just so bizarre. Like, if this was in the far future, like a Blade Runner style, I could believe it, because it's like, everyone looks like that, sure.
I wonder how old the writers and the designers are.
I don't know.
I wonder if they were, like, people who were teenagers in the 90s, that may explain some of this.
Yeah, I can't help but feel that her look is supposed to be some kind of nod to that era.
It has to be.
It's like, between the name and the look and the way she acts, it all just very much screams 90s cyberpunk.
Yeah.
Which I'm not saying is bad, I like it, it's just kind of
cyberpunk-esque, but not really.
Yeah, it's like, the problem is that, while I like it a lot, it's just kind of ill-fitting, because this universe really tries to straddle a line between this really near-future realism and the surveillance state. It's not far enough in the future that I can accurately believe that everybody would dress like this. So
Well,
it's
not
just...
everybody. She's literally the only person in the entire game that dresses like this.
Well, I would assume that, like, almost all of DedSec looks like this or something. But it's just so bizarre. Because it's just like this seemingly hyper-realistic version of Chicago, and then you have this girl here. And it's like, of course she'd be the hacker chick. Like, if I looked at her, I'd be like, no, yeah, she totally works as a fucking target or something. It's like, no, of course she's the hacker girl.
And she is one of the game's more interesting characters out of the cast. And we'll get into that discussion at a later point, but it's kind of just she has the Lisa problem on Far Cry 3, where she is much more interesting than the actual protagonist of the game we're playing.
Yeah. Like, it's kind of funny that the Watch Dogs DLC came out where you play as your old friend T-Bone, who's a slightly more interesting character, but what I would give to play as Clara with like a sort of Last of Us Left Behind situation. Mostly storytelling, a little bit of shooting, a lot of puzzle solving, and adventure game style stuff. I would kill for that.
Clara hates guns, so,
Yeah.
so that would by itself become a really interesting change in gameplay, where it's actually more focused on hacking and that kind of.
Yeah, but imagine sort of like an
problem
adventure
solving.
game in this universe or something with like Claire as the main character.
Like
And I'd be
Clara
able
as
to-
like a cyber detective.
yeah,
That'd be pretty interesting.
I'd play that.
Shame she dies.
Yeah, at the fucking end in the stupidest way.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, I've said it before, I'll say it again. Spoilers will happen during this. Prepare yourself.
Yeah, because what does the most interesting character in an Ubisoft game get as a reward? Death. It is almost always death. The cool people in Ubisoft games get killed or suffer horrible fates.
Oh, that's not
Because-
the lure. There we go.
I love that you create a lure right now out of junk data.
Yeah, naturally.
Like, it takes you all of 2 seconds to make a lure.
And I think it's interesting that that crafting system exists, but you're right that it's definitely one of the more you really have to suspend your disbelief for it to work.
Yeah. And I, for some reason, cannot pronounce lure correctly.
Yeah, I was about to point that out to you.
That's one of those words that I just don't, that my mouth is not capable of saying correctly.
Yeah, lure.
So if I say lore, it sounds like I'm saying like
Lore.
storybook lore.
Yeah. Yeah, everybody's got things they can't pronounce. I certainly have plenty. I also forgot that you have to pick up all these guns to unlock them.
Ugh. Well, you could buy them from
Yeah,
the store.
with all the useless money I get from stealing from people's accounts.
Honestly, like, no joke, I sat there, I was
Oh,
halfway through the game, and I realized, why do I have all of this money? I don't spend it.
Well, I was doing pretty alright for a while. I meant to have the pistol. You know, ow. Something I was thinking about, again, with Far Cry 3 and with this, and it was definitely a lot while playing GTA, I was thinking about this. But I'm kind of bummed that in most games, the pistol becomes useless very quickly.
Yeah.
Like, like The Last of Us is a good example of, like, a game where you have the pistol and it's always useful. And I just get kind of bummed by the idea that it's like, yeah, it's just in most games, it just becomes completely useless, like, I don't know, half an hour in. It's like, why would you use a pistol?
Yeah. Even in like strategy games like XCOM, I recall I've never used a pistol in an XCOM game, like,
Yeah.
ever.
I always find that just kind of a bummer of game design, and it's, that's just a factor of implementing multiple guns. The pistol always seems to get the short end. Halo 1 pistol, though. That was where it was at.
Yeah, I don't really have much to say aside from that I agree with that.
Hold on, let me hack all these sodas out for kicks, because Aiden Pierce would totally do that. Well, that
Yeah,
that
and
was
he
off to a
won't-
great start.
Even better, he won't even drink them.
Yep, just wasting them. So I like how I just went from like, okay, everything was going great, to, oh god, everything went terrible.
It could be actually cool if you drank soda for minor healing.
Yeah, you can do that in Grand Theft Auto. Can't do it in here. Abe Pierce got no time for that. He's too busy stealing from the poor.
Yeah.
I think I mentioned it yeah, I must have mentioned it before, but the gunplay in this game actually is pretty decent. I will probably edit over most of the gunplay in this game because it's also just gunplay, but it's good.
play games like this, sometimes I like to role play that my characters are saving up money for a retirement fund, and that's how I explain why I have so much money at the end of the game that I've never spent.
Are you the kind of person who doesn't usually buy things in game?
Because usually you can find everything you need. You don't.
Yeah. Game design today is
a waste of time.
Yeah, I feel like that's just a factor of modern game design about not wanting the player to miss anything. So it's like, well, you can buy these guns or you can just unlock them. Don't miss out on these guns, man. Really, don't miss them out.
So I remember I was going through Deus Ex Human Revolution. I looked at my file at the end of the game. I had 30,000 credits in my name.
Oh, I totally had that.
I
Deus
sat there
Ex.
like, what am I actually getting all these credits for? And I just made up the bullshit excuse that I was saving up for a retirement fund.
Yeah, sure.
Sure.
Adam Jensen would probably do that.
He's responsible with money, unlike Aiden Pierce.
You know, he's a hard worker.
For those of you in the audience who aren't aware, I hate Aiden Pierce.
What? How could this be? Oh, there we go. I figured it out, I think. Nope.
No, you have to have, like... No, you had to have, yeah, one end, either left or right, and then you can use the... You know...
Am I just bad at this?
Yeah, you are.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah. Leave the middle one alone.
Okay.
Leave the middle one the fuck alone.
I just want to turn it. I just want to turn it so bad. So turn this one?
The
Oh,
left one once.
I'm an idiot.
Yes, you are. This is a really simple puzzle.
I'm so good at video games, guys, you don't know. I'm usually decent at these. Okay, need to divert power this way. And there's... I don't know, some guy.
There we go.
Alright, I need to hack his computer? Is this the guy who's like, I'm being hacked?
No.
Yeah, it is.
Oh. Oh, for fuck's sake.
Okay, I got you in. Can you track the call?
Someone hacked in! Fuck me!
Oh no! All my pornography! Now they know.
Knowing is half the battle.
Now we know.
And knowing is half the battle.
How about I use my Tommy gun while I wear my fedora?
Why not?
Well, it's just Aiden Pierce is that kind of guy. He's like, yeah,
You're
fuck
either,
it.
you're either a gumshoe or a gangster. You decide, audience.
Yeah, Aiden Pierce, he's more of the asshole side.
He's chaotic stupid.
Can't get clear fast enough. Is DedSec know?
Oh, I got more skill points.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot because of the fucking Uplay stuff. I have like a million fucking pistols. Unlock skill to craft.
Although once you buy the grenade launcher weapons, the whole game becomes easy mode.
Yeah, I forgot about that. I forgot a lot about
Like
this
how
game.
do you stop? How do you stop? an
Wait, did I
armed
just pick a car
convoy?
that nobody was in? That was lucky.
How do you stop an armed convoy? You get the grenade launcher, stand in the path, and then fire away once they get close enough.
Yeah, I was thinking,
Wins everything.
you played
every time.
You recently played Far Cry 4, right? Yeah, you
Yes.
yeah. So it's kind of funny because that immediately reminds me of the grenade launcher in Far Cry 4 and how it's a
The
sidearm.
one that's a fucking sidearm, but
Yeah.
you can put 3 whole different guns and a grenade launcher.
You know,
I mean, sure, I could put a pistol in, but why would I do that when I have a fucking grenade launcher to pick?
and it's like, especially when you have silenced guns, otherwise, like, it doesn't
Yeah.
matter. Oh, the driving is so good, especially when I have a bad tire. It's the best.
And then there's that one heavy machine gun that's as accurate as a fucking sniper rifle.
Oh, yeah. I remember I got
It
that. I think
does so much damage.
Isn't that the Ripper, I think?
I forget the name of it.
Yeah, it's a special one. But we did it. So, if I remember correctly, like 90% of the missions in this game, if not all of them, are complete mission, get phone call. That goes to the next mission.
Yeah.
Like, the entire setup for every mission is use a phone.
This could be interesting commentary, or it could just be Ubisoft not doing much work, but like most of the interaction that Aiden has in the game is through his phone.
It's an interesting idea to think about, but I'm not sure that was intentional.
I mean, considering that the whole premise of the game is that everything is being monitored, that seems a little silly to me. Like, you think that they'd be more they'd be more about talking face to face to
Yeah,
avoid
which
being monitored on the phone. Again, we could use these elements to explain things and do things, but they don't.
Which unfortunately kind of brings up one of the most hated tropes, in addition to the whole, like, the computer system doesn't work for Aiden's face. If they mention it, and if they don't, I'm sure they would explain it as they both have completely untraceable burst transmission phones. Which I always thought was total bullshit to basically say it makes it easier on cutscenes because we don't have to put people face to face. It's a lot easier to have them talk on the phone. It's like, yeah, but there's that really interesting dynamic of, like, you know, there's that fun cyberpunk trope of, like, were you followed? No. And it's like, we'll talk in this secure location in this public area or this private back alley.
Yeah.
Like, talking in code in public areas, but it's like it's always on the phone.
Or trying to find a place where there are no cameras, and you can turn off and you leave your cell phones on the outside so no one can listen in.
They really could have leveraged this near future universe to, just like you said, the idea of, like, putting away phones in like like some kind of metal box that electronics can't get through, and then sitting in some kind of safe room to talk.
I mean, I know we're going to the vein of wacky conspiracy theories, but this setting kind of asks for it, honestly.
Yeah, it's all just the idea of missed opportunity, where it's like you have this near future setting where you can do pseudo cyberpunk stuff and you can really get away with some kind of dumb things that would be explained.
It's disappointing this is just a standard revenge story.
Yeah, like they never leveraged the setting all that well.
You have such a great hook with this technology everywhere. You go for the standard revenge story, and it's so disappointing.
Yeah, it's a super interesting universe that is just never that well leveraged.
And these are little interesting segments where you have to trace the line to the power box to activate it.
Sure, but, you know, it's just...
I mean,
it's always
after
just...
a while, but it's a cool little premise.
But it always just feels like auxiliary. Like, it always feels secondary to the shooting. Which is, you know, mostly my main complaint with the game. Is that the shooting seems to come first.
But everything feels secondary to the shooting, though, in this game.
Yeah, and I don't think that excuses it, though. Like, I think that's just a bummer of general game design.
Yeah, it is. It definitely is. I just find it so difficult to get angry about that one thing being inside shooting when it's everything else gets clipped by the shooting.
Yeah.
Again, even the story, like, it's a standard revenge tale. Why? Because we can justify shooting dudes that way. Revenge is so easy that it's starting to become this annoyingly overused plot. Because it's so easy to do.
I mean, it's basically as old as told or written tales themselves.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's, like you said, it's easy. Not to say it's bad necessarily, it's just, you know, there's so much more complex narratives you can weave with video games.
Even if it's a really good cake, if I'm having cake every day, I don't want cake anymore.
Yeah.
And that's a really painfully overused metaphor, but it gets the point across.
Yeah. And I think that just, you know, especially talking about the realm of video games, like, there's so much more you can do with the interactive medium than just, like, a story that can be told through a movie. Like, you know, tell me something that is... involves more interactivity.
You have to unlock that one. Yeah.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, there you go. Now you're good.
Yeah, I can solve most of these pretty quickly for the most part.
Yeah, they're just hard enough that you had to think for a bit, but not too hard that they require tons of complex thought.
Yeah, they're interesting enough.
Of course, as I say that, you're no doubt probably going to make some huge error, like in a later episode.
Yeah. Alright. I forget, is this the apartment of your old partner? I can't remember.
No. I don't know. I don't think they ever specify who this department is for.
No, it is! Yeah, it's totally Damien's apartment.
Oh, man.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was.
They really don't like... Like, it feels like this game is trying to make fun of people who are nerdy, even though it doesn't make any sense because it's a video game, and by definition, the people who play this will probably end up being 9 out of 10 a little bit nerdy. You
know what I also just realized? He has diapers, which implies that idea of, like, I never leave the room.
That's fucking... This is...
That's that's one detail I didn't need to have, game. Like, that's kind of a weird trope of, like, you know, there's probably a toilet in the apartment somewhere.
I'm just finished lecturing about how this game the game makes fun of the nerdy guys, and then they have a nerdy guy with a box of diapers in his apartment. So fuck, I guess it's worse than I thought it was.
Great. Good job, everybody. A+.
Like, again, it's like the case with Alex in the Tomb Raider season, where, you know, I'm a nerdy guy, and a lot of your audience consists of nerdy guys, game. Could you be a little more sensitive to that fact, please?
Yeah. You know, it's also funny that as soon as the fixtures came in, just like these dudes wearing hoodies, it just kind of reminded me of, like we were saying earlier, that it's like, man, I wish this game was like far Cyberpunk and was just kind of like more Shadowrun. Even if it was a lot more tropey, just like, this, like, on the second playthrough, I'm starting to notice this near future setting just really doesn't do anything for me. Yeah, it's partly because they don't use it much, but it's just like every time I see this, I'm like, just make it far Cyberpunk. Just go in the full Blade Runner.
Aside from the hacking stuff, it's so present day that you really it straddles that line between being Cyberpunk and being just a modern day open world sandbox game.
Yeah, and the problem, like we said, is that they just don't leverage that idea, even though it's pretty underutilized.
And again, those are both fine, like, in of themselves, but I'd rather they pick one of those two angles and stick with them, rather than try to do all these disparate stuff at the same time.
Yeah.
That came out wrong.
Yeah.
So, like, if you're gonna... Don't do everything, just do something and do it really well. You don't have to have all this shit in the game.
I feel like that's kind of the Ubisoft problem, is don't do everything.
Yeah.
But you know, I've said before, I'll say again, I like Ubisoft, I like their games a lot. I just wish I liked them more because they lack focus.
Like, Unity was a fairly focused game for Ubisoft.
Yeah.
And in technical issues aside, it was better for it. I know I'll get crucified for saying that, but like,
hey man, we talked about it when it came out. We defend Unity.
I enjoy Unity. It was a good game. Like,
it was one of the better Assassin's Creed games.
Whereas, like, in Black Flag, like, the thing that people like are the pirate stuff, and they couldn't give a shit about the Assassin's Creed stuff in that game.
Yeah, I think I mentioned that at one point, this idea of, like, Assassin's Creed 4 is a great game and a pretty terrible Assassin's Creed game.
It's the best game in the Assassin's Creed series, but a bad Assassin's Creed game.
Yeah. But, yeah. So I'm kind of curious since I just have a little bit of time while I'm driving, what they're going to do with Watch Dogs 2. Like, I'm sure it'll take place, like, immediately after, like, 6 months, but man, it would be great if they went, like, a Black Ops 2 thing, where it's like, fuck it, it's 20 years in the future, it's Blade Runner now. Cool. Like, I think it's just, like, upon playing Shadowrun Returns recently, and I'm about to get back into Dragonfall, is this idea of, like, I really want a super high-production Cyberpunk game. Because I love Cyberpunk.
I would love, like, them to focus more on, like, the CTOS and how it affects daily life. Like, because in this game, they really don't get into that at all.
Yeah, it's always just this side thing that they kind of mention offhandedly.
But if they had, like, the next game talk more about the CTOS and how ordinary people are affected by it and what they choose to do knowing that they're being watched, that would be really interesting.
Yeah.
And fuck this asshole.
Yeah. That would be kind of interesting if CTS 2.0 was where they were finally like, okay, Aiden can't hide from CTOS anymore, so therefore you actually have to employ stealth when going around the city. Yeah. Like, it could finally be that vision that we originally had for the game. As for these two guys, I don't have much to say about Damien. Like, he's basically just playing a character trope of this of the Cyberpunk story.
That's his entire thing, is that he's evil.
Well, like, he's just playing to... It's almost like... This game is almost like Cyberpunk / Noir, although you could probably just say Cyberpunk borrows some kind of elements from that, in that he's the betrayed friend. And it's like he's evil because he's out for revenge on you because of something you did.
Well, that doesn't make sense, though, because he was never betrayed.
He was betrayed because you didn't do the job for him, and then you got out of the game after your niece died.
He was never betrayed, though. Like, you can't use the betrayed friend angle when there was no betrayal that ever took place.
Hey, Brandon. Ubisoft just did.
Why?
See, he's talking about it right now. He's like, you made my life hell.
No! The fact that they fucking... No, his life was hell because they decided to rob a hotel together.
Yep.
And the moment one of them says, you know what, let's not do that anymore because it could get worse next time, he flips the fuck out. It's his own fault.
Yep. It's pretty great.
The big problem is
They're both equally responsible for whatever shit that goes down.
Yeah, it's pretty dumb.
For once in this entire game, Aiden is trying to be the mature one, and the game throws it in your face.
She's like, why wouldn't you just do this forever?
We could be evil and conquer the world together. And Aiden's like, I don't give a shit.
I just want to rob people.
For once, his apathy is justified, and the game doesn't let him...
do the same without.
Like, the one person who deserves Aiden's Kiers's punishment doesn't get it.
So, something that just occurred to me. If you notice we've kind of mentioned before the idea of, like, C2S bringing up interesting profiles. This is
Yeah.
actually one of the most interesting ones I've actually seen, if you look at what she does and what she wants to do.
Designing anti-rape device, occupation escort.
It's actually pretty interesting. And the game has nothing to say about it. It's just a thing
Wait a
that
minute,
happens.
if CTOS know that she's an escort,
Does that mean that...
isn't prostitution illegal in Chicago?
Pretty sure it's illegal in the U.S. As far as I know.
No, it's legal in Rhode Island and Nevada.
Today I learned. I don't know. That would be a curious thing about C2S. Does it know things about people that it doesn't say anything about because it considers them non-essential crimes? That would be something interesting to talk about. Never brings it up.
Again, like, there's so many things that they could have done with this angle. You could have picked any one of them.
Yeah, that actually would have, now that I think about that, actually would have been a slightly interesting idea of, like, what if there was this idea of CTOS basically processing crimes that it knew about but didn't bother to send anyone out about because they were not a big problem?
Well, there was a crime priority queue or something.
Yeah, what if it was like, okay, this guy's
as long
peddling
as you didn't
drugs,
go
but
too
look,
far-
whatever, it doesn't
As
matter.
long as you didn't do too many crimes, or the crimes you did were minor, you'd be fine because your priority queue was so low.
You know what actually...
Compared to the guy that murdered 15 children.
You know, it would actually be kind of interesting if you could set up, like, if there was, like, a group of characters to set up a mission where it's like, we need to haul these drugs across the bay. Someone needs to murder someone as a setup so that CTOS will go after them. Like, there's just really cool ideas in this universe.
Yeah, like you could fake a murder.
Yeah.
You have to pick it up.
You just, like, do this, like, fake murder so that we can haul drugs across because C2S will prioritize the murder case over a drug case.
You
Like,
could
that
have
would be
Jordan
super
want to use
interesting!
request because of course Jordy would want to do something like that.
Oh,
I would
God.
probably volunteer to be the victim.
That would just be a super interesting idea of how to use CTOS. Like the idea of like, not even hackers, but like criminals using the system against itself.
Without actually hacking, but just like exploiting its algorithms.
Like even just generally, like you said, the idea of exploiting a computer to your criminal advantage.
Yeah.
And the idea of like computerizing the police and how without the human element it doesn't understand certain problems. That could have been interesting. Doesn't do anything about it.
Because with this much data, there's no way a couple of people will be able to sift through it all.
Yeah, like that idea of like a computer basically looking through stuff and being like, okay, look, like some things just have to be ignored for other problems that are more important because there's only so many police forces out there.
Like, I mean, yeah, it's great that you robbed that candy from the baby, but I mean, this guy murdered 15 children in the school today, so I really don't give a shit.
Yeah. I don't know. That's just... I feel like every time we do one of these, we come up with a better idea for the game.
This is Far Cry 3 all over again.
Yeah. It's a real shame because, dude, I would totally play that kind of game where the whole object of the game was as a criminal to exploit a computer to your advantage. There's actually,
I mean, as a game player, that's kind of what we do most of the time, is we exploit
yeah, we're exploiting
pre-made
systems.
algorithms and systems to our maximum benefit.
Yeah, like the whole point of basically, at least as far as shooters, if not most, if not all games, is to exploit the AI and the systems to your advantage.
So if there was like some sort of self-awareness on this game's part that let it do that, that would actually be really, really intriguing.
Yeah. Speaking of exploitation of like systems, that kind of reminds me that there is a small game that came out a while ago. I don't think it's finished yet, called The Fall, and the whole idea is that you're playing as an AI with a dying person inside of it, inside a suit
And we've
that
got
you're
to
part
call
of.
it soon.
Yeah. But inside that suit, what's interesting is that you have to actually basically put the human in danger in order to start some of the systems to progress. So it's like you have to get yourself in the line of fire to risk killing the person inside so that you can have your shields activated, because it'll only activate in case of emergency.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
Also, I just realized that our objective is remember.
Don't trigger the mission, because we really have to end the episode. So this is a good
I just want you to notice it says go 50 millimeters away to the remember objective.
Yes.
It's not like go to, it just says go remember over here. That's like almost in line with the press F to pay respects thing. Like the idea of like your objective is to remember your dead niece. That's really bizarre. I never noticed that before.
Start mission to remember your dead niece.
Oh god, Watch Dogs, what the hell? Well, we'll catch you guys next time.
We will remember our dead niece on the next episode of Interactive Friction Watch Dogs.
Yeah, be sure to get your remembering game out.
Remember me, guys.
We'll play that sometime. That's a good game. Alright, bye guys.
Bye, guys.